So I've got Gavin Brenkus here from the Brenkus Team. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
All right. So I know your mom and dad, Rick and Terry, everybody knows them. And your sister is?
My sister's Bree Brenkus.
Yeah. And you also have a brother?
Yep. My brother Trent just got licensed.
Yeah. And you're recently married?
Yep. My wife Ava is in real estate as well.
All on the Brenkus Team?
All on the Brenkus Team. We're all working together.
You guys live and breathe real estate. I can only imagine when you guys have Thanksgiving meal, are you talking real estate or can you guys talk sports or anything else?
You know, it's hard not to talk about something you love. Before I got in the business, they never talked about work at home. And now it's like all we talk about now.
Because you all have it in common.
Exactly.
Now that you're in the biz, you might as well do it. We live and breathe it, right? That's how we are.
Yeah.
Funny story about you and your sister. Remember we met we were at a restaurant and you tapped me on the shoulder and you're like, George Kypreos? And I'm like, yeah. And you're like, I'm Gavin Brenkus. How you doing? And he's like, nice to meet you. And I was like, not enough people do that these days. Yeah. And I always tell people, at our company and people I've coached and mentored, like, it's a people business, not a real estate business.
That's right.
And here you are, somebody who, you know where you're working, you're not looking to join anyone else, you're happy where you're at. I'm not going with you guys, right? We're all set. But yeah, you wanted to build a relationship. And you went out of your way, and you're a young man. And I was like, what a gift. Where did you learn how to do that?
I was raised well by two great real estate agents. And exactly like what you said, real estate is a people business, and so is life. You never know where a conversation will take you. I mean, that I feel like led me here. You just go, any opportunity you have where you see somebody, go shake their hand. You never know when you'll bump into them again.
So I text your mom and dad about joining. The idea of the Market Pulse is top producing either agents or broker managers or team leads coming in here, sharing information with our members that, might not have sales meetings, might not be a part of teams that get all this information we get. And so both your mom and dad said they had conflicts. I'm like, well, what about one of those kids of yours who's so sharp? And they were like, really? I'm like, absolutely, because we have got a lot of young members out there that are trying to figure it out. So I think it's awesome you're here representing the Brenkus brand, what you guys do as a family and as a team. I went on a listing appointment one time and your dad was there before me and I didn't get it. And then I said, so annoying. And and I admit it, I don't get them all. And so the seller asked me, have you written any books? And your dad's written a book, right?
Part author of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent.
Doesn't matter. He's more part than me, so I had to say no, and then I figured that that's what it was. So your dad probably left a book on the counter or something, but I've watched your family thrive in real estate. So what are you guys seeing in the market? Like the numbers in March were a little better than people expected. Mm-hmm. We closed around 3,000 homes in the marketplace. Median prices stayed about the same. Inventory didn't spike up like crazy. Usually like in the spring, you see everybody bring the market. What are you guys seeing?
Yeah, it is good news that we're seeing more homes sell. It's nothing like it was in 2020, 2021, 2022, where it was a very transactional time. This is the market where you want to have real conversations and understand the big why your client's moving, because that's going to be the thing that gets them through the finish line. Obviously, we're having better pricing conversations of what's more important, you achieving your goal of moving or this price that you're attached to.
Sure. So whether you're with like a buyer consult or you're in a listing presentation, getting right to the numbers, like this is my fee for my, buyer brokerage agreement, or this is my listing fee, leave that aside and basically ask them the questions like, why are we even talking? Where are you going? What is the goal? And if you can start to identify what that is, the numbers become a lot easier. But if you walk right in the door with, I charge this, and this is what your home is worth, and this is my fee, and you don't even know the reason you're there, you've basically taken all the personality and all the personal reasons and the human nature out of the conversation.
Yeah, and your client isn't going to be that motivated if that's not brought up and actually talked about of, what's causing you to move in the first place, what's important about moving to Utah, right? How does that, because real estate agents, believe it or not, are in the business of changing lives. And if you miss that step, you're just a functionary. You will get replace.
Yeah, and you're
you
all
know?
about the numbers, right? If you're just a numbers guy, I charge this, I do that, and you've taken out like the family component, like why you're going to move your kids? Have you visited the schools there? Do you have family there? You can start having that conversation. And then you can go from, instead of it being about like me and you, it can be about us. Well,
Right.
let's talk about how we can get you to Utah. Right?
Right.
And you become a team. You actually end up sitting at the other side of the table with them rather than the
me and
salesman,
you.
right? Who's
Yeah.
trying to push this paper and say, this is what I'm saying. I like the numbers to come out last. I want to
Exactly.
if you're going to talk 2 hours, an hour and a half should be about life, the reasoning. And, sometimes you'll get a guy or a gal who'll tell you, I just want to see what my house is worth. I just want to take a shot. They don't have a place to go. Those people are tougher, right? Those are the overpriced folks. They don't usually want to
Yeah.
pay. And do you guys walk away from them, or how do you treat them?
Yeah, and we treat them the same. The first time people who go on our website or, I'm farming a neighborhood and they're like just curious, I'm always going to ask like, okay, I understand you want to get the price first though. What makes you want to find out what it's worth in the first place? And that question alone can take you anywhere from, this is a referral for my lender. They want to refinance. Right? Or this does turn into a listing appointment. People who are super adamant of, I just want to know my number and they have no reason why, I have no problem sending them comps or something, but I'm not going to invest too much time until I know what their motivation is.
Yeah. We have this widget on our website that says home evaluation, and they get it by clicking the button. I've never listed any of their homes because you're giving them everything. You give them the number. Now they get to decide if they like your number or if they don't, and they can go shop it. I'd rather say, well, let's book a discovery call and talk about what it is why you want the number.
Oh yeah. I mean, we have a similar widget. The way our teams ran is a little bit different. We have people who are licensed agents. They don't meet with people. They don't do contracts. Their one job is to take those inquiries and turn those into appointments. So, one thing, because we've been in such a balanced market for about 3 years now, coming out of 2023, which was a shock to people. I think now people are familiar, consumers are very familiar with the state of the market, which makes them more curious than ever. People are always trying to see what's changed, and people will be clicking those widgets often. So calling them right away and then saying like, are you tapping into that motivation? I know it's not right now. What will you do when you do decide to move? And then that becomes someone who's going to sell when their kids graduate high school.
Do you see yourself having to kind of like debate the news? Because the newspaper seems to be like brutal on our market, right? They're always talking about like how bad the casino business is. I've heard terms like sales plunging, slashing prices. And like, I don't know about you, but I haven't seen any plunging or slashing.
Exactly.
I see you have to be a little more aggressive. You want to be at the bottom end of the price point in the sub. But I see a healthy market where good time for buyers to buy a house, good time for sellers to sell their house. Like, how do you overcome that?
Yeah, great question. My dad, this is a soundbite that he gave me, so your viewers can steal this. I love when they start mentioning news like that. And it's like, for someone to tell you what's happening in the market of all of Las Vegas, it's like someone telling you the weather of America. The weather's very different in Minnesota than it is here in Las Vegas.
I love it.
Just like how your neighborhood is different than another neighborhood across town. So why don't we meet, and I could give you some real numbers for you to think about and decide if you're able to move to Utah.
Great point. Like, why would you be talking, about luxury sales or, manufactured homes or condos when it's a single family in the middle? Like, it's
Exactly.
apples to apples, right? That's a good one. Y'all need to use that one. I will. Props to Rick for that little nugget. So what would you tell a new agent? Lots of our agents that are out there, they might not be on a team. They might not have structured meetings and all the structure that you guys have. What would you tell somebody that's watching out there, that's trying to drum up some business? What advice do you have?
Yeah. So if you're a new agent, the first thing you need to do is get really clear on your budget and what number you need to make to survive, pay your bills. And once you get clear on that number, then we start thinking about what number you want to make in excess. And that will give agents a vision and a drive of what's going to get me out of bed and working in the morning. And then use the economic model. This is something we teach. It's in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, of how many appointments do I need to go on to make that number. Now, with that number, it's just about developing habits and building a schedule that would guarantee you the income that you want. And then from there, I mean, just like what you said, I mean, environment is important. You need to be surrounded by people who are encouraging you and constantly learning, reading books on how to improve yourself and stand out.
Do you guys work in the office?
Yeah, we do. We come in every day.
Yeah. Do you recommend, because a lot of people, join for flexibility and that,
Yeah.
I mean, I think I get suited up. You don't have to look like this, but at least look, if someone makes the call, you can go out and show a house or something. I think you'll do more in an office, even if you have a cubicle or you got to work in open space, than you will at home. Whether it's news, dog, pets, family, kids, something's going to pull you away.
Yeah, something will. The fridge will, for sure. I mean, I can't work from home.
Yeah,
you got to go into the office. You got to have an area where this is a dedicated workspace. And I don't think having an extra room at home is that. You're already out of the house. You're prepared to go meet with somebody and list a home today.
Awesome. So not knowing your model or have read the book, I might pick it up. But so it's probably something like commit a certain amount of time. In that time, do money-making activities, which is either like door knocking, prospecting, open houses, something. And then within that amount of effort, you should have a certain amount of appointments. From those certain amount of appointments, you should have a certain amount of contracts. Out of that amount of contracts, you have some closing. So you can start to look like a pyramid and realize like, you're building it from the bottom up. More of this, more, and then at the top, you got the sweet part, right, that hits. You mentioned a dollar amount. I never thought of it that way. I never liked it when someone would come in and say, yeah, I want to make X amount of 50,000, 100,000, 200,000. I was like, no, but for what? I want to put my kids in college. I want to protect my mother if she has to go in a nursing home. Like, I want the why, that the dollars are going to fund the why. Because just dollars, I don't know, it felt empty to me. Do you guys do a little bit of the why behind?
Like, we have agents on our team. One's planning a trip to Disneyland for his son. Another's saving to buy a home. And that's actually the first part of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, is having a big why. And it's in it. I'll just give a blurb. There's a conversation between Gary Keller, the main author, and a friend, and the friend saying, why are you setting all these goals? Don't you have enough money? Like, you work for money. And Gary replies, well, I don't work for money. You do, because when you got enough money, you stopped. I just want to be the best I could be. It's not about the money. It's about being the best you could be.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, dollar amounts, if you make a bunch and you don't do the right things with it, it's for nothing. But if you got goals like taking your kids on a trip or putting a kid in college or anything like that, I love it. So so we touched on the family part. I guess I got to ask, like, I've had arguments with my family. We had a family restaurant. Like, I was in the kitchen, sisters out front. Like, do you guys ever have tiffs? Does it happen? And just be honest, man.
I mean, every family does. And we all know deep down we love each other, and this too shall pass. We're all on a shared goal to, like, our team mission is to better serve clients and to give agents a better quality of life. So, like, even if your last name isn't Brenkus, our whole team is a family.
And you guys kind of ride together. You have to be a team, right? And if the coach calls a play, and not everybody loves the play, and you're supposed to block or you're supposed to catch, you're supposed to do your part in the play.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, I misquoted a price for somebody. My dad went and took the listing, and I told him, hey, just throw me under the bus. You got to look good. And, we sold that house. But we wouldn't even have that piece of business if my ego was in the way.
Sure. Because you could say I'm right, go higher, and then it doesn't happen, right?
Right, yeah.
What about like the passing of the guard for the Brenkus family? You think you and your sister, brother, wife, all of you, will take the reins one day and ultimately continue this business long term?
Yeah, my dad's been in real estate 40 years. Obviously, they're doing things well. They'll make the right decision when that time comes. They're not stopping anytime soon.
Oh, we know that.
Yeah.
Your dad's still on appointments. You don't go from 100 to 0. You go from 100 to 80 to 60, and I think he's still going fast. So lots of respect for you and your family. Anything in closing that you want to say about you guys? Or
the biggest thing I could say to a new agent is leaders are readers. Really pick up some books, and that's how you'll develop your skills, is studying at home, make it a hobby to learn.
All right. And to button up the market conditions, guys, no major changes in the market, not a ton of new inventory. Sales look pretty good. Rates are a little higher, so we might see a few less sales in April than we did in March because of, higher oil prices, which kind of raised
Right.
rates, inflationary. But, if you're looking to buy a house out there, call a real estate agent from the Association of Realtors. If you're looking to sell your house, call a listing agent from Las Vegas Association of Realtors. We are the people that are out here to help you. Gavin, thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
You got it.
All right.